This is a Miwa U9, very difficult lock from Japan. This is one of the older styles with the old gates. The false gates in that are a bit more shallow, but I do find the edges on them are hard to get over if you're set into them and still require a full reset. Doesn't have any masters in it. I have gone ahead and mapped out the key and the bitting here. You can see I've made some corrections over time. This is for one of my other ones that I thought was going to be at the Black Belt 2 level, but it turns out it had a few mastered discs in it. So we'll be working on this one. I haven't managed to get this open yet, so if we get it open today, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, still trying to figure out my way through it, learning as I go. I found that these picks have been the most useful. I was originally using these larger tension bars and putting it in the edges here and then switching back and forth every once in a while to switch sides, but I found one of my original tools that I had made has been working pretty well. It sneaks in nice in the side here and doesn't actually block the pick from reaching any of the gates. So that's what I'll be starting with. I'm also starting with a fairly short flat hook, just to try and get everything into the low points before the gates that help you get each of the levers close to their true gate. And I find that helps me not drop into the false gates as much. Some of them do have false gates after their true gates, so I have to be careful of not oversetting things. And some of them are back to back, and that makes reaching them a little bit tricky. But I know 1 and 4 here are going to be max lifts, and then I think 6 and 9 are very low. You can see here on the key. So 1 and 4 are max all the way at the edge, and then this is 6 and 9. So they're pretty low cuts, just a little tap. They both have low points before the gate, so they'll be pretty jiggly, and eventually I'll have to jiggle them to find the true gates. And then on this side, we've got 2 and 3 here, so a mid-high cut, and then 3 is near max, and 5 is kind of low, but I don't think it has any false gates before it, so just a low point and false gates after, so it's very easy to overset this while moving around. And then 7 and 8 is another pretty high cut similar to 2, and then 8 is similar to 3 here. So this is kind of a pattern in the lock. So yeah, what I'm doing first is just getting everything into a point where it can jiggle nicely near the gate to try and avoid those false gates, and just let everything get close to dropping in a true gate. So everything on this side is nice and jiggly. I can get some movement out of it. One had dropped back to a low point, and I think I've got it where I want it there. I frequently have to count my way to 4 to make sure I'm not hitting 6 and oversetting it. It's a bit tricky to find sometimes just because 3 has a big gap between 3 and 4. But I find this 4th one does not like to stay, but it's the hardest one to set because it has 2 false gates before the max lift. So I try and come back and reset this after every small change I make. And then I go to the back to find 9. Just a little jiggle on it. 6, little jiggle, increase some tension. 4 is still set. 1 is still set. Come back to this side. 2 was binding. We got a little bit of core movement out of that. Nice and jiggly on 2 and 3. We'll try 5. I have to be very careful with 5 because it has a low point after. So if I overset 5 with heavy tension, then it'll just be stuck past the gate and I won't really be able to get it back without dropping stuff. 7 here is binding. So we can jiggle that a little bit. I think 8 and 7 7 are pretty good now. They're not jiggling as much, but they are pretty high lifts. Let's come back to here. Got a little bit of binding on 2. I think 3 can go a bit further, yeah. And still just gonna ignore 5 and keep working on everything else. Make sure 1 is good. 4 dropped out a little. 6 is stiff, but I really don't want to overset it. 9 is a bit of jiggling. So I'm just gonna put a bit of pressure. There we got a little bit of, yeah. There's sort of a maximum amount of pressure that I'll apply to something. We got some more core rotation, dropping 1. If I know it's got false gates, oh, there we go. I think 1 and 4, I think, are in their true gate now. So I think we can get to jiggling things around. Let's go to the back. All right, let's try tapping 5. Well, 5 is very stiff. All right, so let's use a slightly deeper hook just to get a better feel of our depth here. 3 feels good. 2 feels pretty good, but it has a false gate after, so it's possible 2 fell into a false gate. But I feel happy about it compared to 3. 5 is very stiff, so it's either past the gate or before the gate, and I don't want to blow that too early. 8 is not moving. Sorry, 7 is not moving. 8 is not moving. But if we look at this here, we can see these both have low, true, low on 7 and false, low, true here. So it's also possible 7 is slightly past its gate. So 7 and 5 both need to be careful. So it's possible those are overset now and I'll have to reset, but we can just give that a push. Let's come back around and give everything a jiggle. 5 is very stiff. 7 and 8 are jiggly again. Makes me feel better about that. Let's check on 4. 1 is good. 2 is empty. 3 is empty. 4. Okay, let's go from the back then. 9 is very stiff. It could be in a gate. I know these like to bind from the back. I don't want to put more pressure than that because that's potentially going to push it out into a false gate, which 7 could be in a false gate now, or 6 rather. It has 2 false gates, and it's a bit deeper than 9, and I think these are roughly the same cut, so that could possibly be overset. But 4 also popped out just a little bit, so if we can jiggle that in. Just kind of bouncing tension while I do that. Oh, and there it is. So it was 9 that just needed to move. That's awesome. Got that open. All right, let's do a gut and get this thing done. So I'll need the key. I can get the vise out of here. And I'll get my gutting station. I'll just bring this down a bit. This guy, and we'll just use a generic tray. We're just gonna keep everything inside the lock here while we do this. So we'll start with taking off this C-clip. Sometimes this comes off easily, sometimes it doesn't. Just do the old-fashioned way. Or not. There we go. That was more difficult than it needed to be. All right, get that ring off the back. Ah. Sorry, nervous, surprised. All right, now we can pull this out. Make sure we keep that bar down there. There's the housing. Nothing too special other than it's got that retainer in there that keeps everything from being pulled out on that bar here. And then we've got our sidebar with 2 springs, just like that. And then we'll try and do a good close-up here of each gate. So we'll try and show each gate as we go through it. There's one, that's the max there. You can see the false gates before it. And then same with 2, you can see the low points. 3, you can see the low points there and the true gate. 4, again max with the low points and the false gates. 5, very shallow gate and false gates after it. So I'm trying to make sure the light reflects on each one as I go through it. 6, there's the true gate there, pretty shallow with 2 false gates after it. 7, there's the true gate with low points before and after. 8, there's the true gate and 2 false gates after. Oh, sorry, there's the true gate. That one's a false gate, shallow false gate. And 9, true gate there, false gates after, and there's your full binding. There it is. That's the Miwa U9.